So while I got your time and attention, let's do a quick video for Gemini. It is Gemini season. I said I was going to double back to Gemini and do that reading after I did Cancer. You guys go check out the Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, or if you need to know anything Cancer related, go and check out my Cancer video. I was going to get on camera to record this, but because I don't feel like, I just got a tablet, and I said, hey, I can record it on this tablet. But it's an Android tablet, a Galaxy tablet, and I'm used to the iPhone, so I gotta set everything up on this tablet, and I just don't feel like doing that right now, or I'll never get this reading out. So I'm just gonna record it on my phone, and I should be hopping back on camera at some point. So Gemini, let's just talk for a minute. Let's talk about the astrology. And this is just going to be really quick. This is an off-the-cuff reading. I didn't really plan to do Gemini tonight, but I'm trying to get back to some consistencies with the videos. So we're going to just do something really quick for Gemini. We could talk about the astrology first, and I'll just stay for Gemini. You guys may be going through a shift. You may be going through some upheaval, some changes, changes in your foundation. Something is going on with your foundation, and you may not, one second. I dropped some cards on the floor, and you may be dealing with the justice system, maybe feeling like you're not getting fair justice. Something isn't going on fairly for you, and maybe that's just a term to just keep in mind, fair. You may not feel like some things are fair, and it has to do with just things being shaken up and things like that. But you know that things may move fast. You may have to make decisions and reevaluate, but I know the Geminis, and I know it's always going to be okay with you Geminis. So let's just talk about astrology. And we had a few hard aspects, Saturn aspects, since about Thursday. And on the 15th, I think we had a Sun either opposition or square Saturn, and I know today we had a Mercury, was it opposition? Yeah, it was a Mercury opposing Saturn. So there may have just been some things going on. If you guys have looked in the news lately, I know you saw that building in London that was burning, the sun burning up that structure, Saturn. And I'm not sure if it was I believe it was part of terrorist attacks and things like that. So this was on the books, and I'm sure there are other things that happen across the world, but that's just an example of that sun squaring. And I can't go back right now. I don't have time to go back and pull up what Thursday was, because I can't remember if it was a square or opposition. But that was that sun squaring or opposing Saturn, just kind of challenging the structures, challenging even the self when it comes down to a personal level. But I think a lot of things we may have seen was on a world scale, because to be honest, the end of my week going into the weekend, really, it was a pretty good weekend. So it was a good weekend. Let me not say pretty good. It was a good weekend. So I won't say that those tight aspects necessarily had a huge effect on me. Maybe if you are, and Saturn does rule my opposite sign, but maybe if you're Leos, Capricorns, even Geminis, because you guys are in Mercury rules you, and we had that Mercury opposition today. And a girlfriend and I, we were talking about it because we have been anticipating these harsh aspects, and just, watching our behavior because of how these things may have played out on a personal level, depending on the houses and depending where it falls at in your chart. And she told me today that there was another terrorist attack in London, I believe, that had to do with a car hitting a whole bunch of people or something like that. So there you go, Mercury, the ruler of transportation, opposing Saturn. Saturn is in Sagittarius. Right now, it's retrograding in Sagittarius. Usually Sagittarius is higher ideals, knowledge, far away distance travel. So being here in America, London is quite far away. And then that accident happening through Mercury, the ruler of transportation. So just some things going on in some harsh Saturn aspects. And we know when Saturn comes into play, when those Saturn aspects are into play, Saturn does not play. You know what I mean? And Saturn really is like a get your shit together, or things happening to bring about a bigger picture, some sort of growth, some sort of revolution of just straightening up and getting things together. So as far as those were some of the aspects that were going on. What else did we have today? We had the sun sextile in Uranus. So we might have actually gotten some, and of course the sun is in Gemini. I think Uranus is in Aries, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just look really quick. Where's Uranus at? Uranus is in Aries. So you may have had some thoughts, some out of the box thoughts for how you want to get things done. Some ideas, like I was saying about Gemini. Maybe there's some plans you have to rethink when it comes to your foundation and things like that. And it's really fast moving. So with that sun sextile in Uranus, you may have gotten some ideas of how to maybe resolve some things and how to maybe see a problem that you were dealing with, Geminis, and just people in general, and get some solutions and just have some out of the box thinking to how you want to deal with some of the things that are going on in your life. And when it comes down to where the planets are, as we know, the sun is in Gemini, Mercury is in Gemini. So I think that is really giving the Geminis, and maybe a lot going on with your communication, but I think it's all, so you may be having a lot of conversations. Like I said, a lot of things going on, a lot of things moving around, which could be good or bad, Gemini, but it is going to be a very fast moving, communicative, busy month with Mercury in Gemini and that sun in Gemini. We are in an Aries moon today. I believe we should be going, are we still going to be in Aries moon tomorrow? And we're still going to be in Aries moon tomorrow. So Aries moon, just really, like I said, getting back to, this is for everybody, not just necessarily Gemini, but getting back to the ideals, the self, putting the self first, being really fast moving, authoritative, breaking out and doing what you have to do with that moon in Aries, and having those emotions where you're not going to get stuck in your emotions about certain things. You're really going to be more, I'm not necessarily saying more logical, but more reflecting on itself and what do I need to do? What can I do? Really starting from an emotional place so it can play out on a physical plane. Venus is still in Taurus, so just enjoying the luxuries, really wanting to have a good time. I know my Geminis want to have a good time this month, with it being their birthday month. Happy birthday to all the Geminis. Happy birthday to the Cancers, because we are about to switch over into Cancer season, my season. You know, and I'm feeling this is going to be a very chill birthday for me. I always have my moods. I'm usually pretty chill, but this is really going to be a self-reflective birthday. Isn't that something to say? I mean, that I guess that's the Aries moon talking. But I've been feeling like that for a minute, so it's not just the Aries moon. And Venus, so just wanting to have a good time, wanting to enjoy the luxuries, wanting to put your problems to the side and really enjoy what life has to offer. With that Venus in Taurus, working hard, enjoying the pleasures. We're in the summertime. I mean, it's just a good time to have fun, to enjoy life, and appreciate all the beauty that life has to offer. This thing my screen keeps going off for like 5 seconds. Mars in Cancer. There may be some inner aggressions that you can't really get out, that you can't really express, or that you can't resolve. Cancer is a sign that waters down Mars. It restrains Mars. The anger, if there's any anger, that aggression, it can't be expressed well or thoroughly through Cancer. So anything that you're feeling, if you're fighting against an emotional self and then a physical place where you stand, you just want to try to even those energies out, because Mars it does rule Aries. Like I talked about, Aries being headstrong, going for what you know, just taking action, not from really an emotional place, but from a logical place too. You want this, you want to do this, this is what your ambition is, and you're gonna do it. Well, with that Mars in Cancer, Mars is that will to do things. Mars is that movement. So you may be feeling like some of your energy is repressed, maybe slowed down. And definitely when it comes to any arguments or disagreements with people, you're not going to really be able to express yourself, express that anger well. It won't really come out in the most healthy ways. So you may want to back off of any arguments or anything like that. And we could go through the rest. I mean, Neptune in Pisces is retrograding, so just be sure you don't get lost in your fantasies, your dreams. You stay down to earth and you stay practical so that you can make some strides, that you can get things done. Saturn is still retrograding in Sagittarius, so really making you think about, maybe your education, Wisdom, maybe some things aren't really moving. There may have been some stagnation, and maybe you wanted to take some classes, you wanted to do something else, you wanted some higher learning, or just some structures, what you're going through. Like I talked about, it may be some stagnation and some changes in foundations, in structures, maybe job changes, things of that nature with Saturn retrograding. But it's all to teach you different lessons and to learn different things. And when we come out of this Saturn in Sagittarius and this Saturn retrograde, of course Saturn is all about making you a better person, being stern to make you better, to make you rise to the challenges, to make you your best. It's like a father being hard on you because they know what's out there in the world. They know what you're going to have to stand up against. So Saturn is going to make you work hard. Saturn is going to make you learn the lessons the hard way over and over and over again by being stern, by being even somewhat harsh sometimes. But it is for your good. It is for your benefit. And that is the positive in Saturn. Jupiter and Libra, just really about good things when it comes to partnerships and friendships. So even if you don't have a partnership that's on right now, you may find that your friends really come to your rescue. You're having a good time with your friends. Business ventures, opportunities to expand your circles are really coming to the forefront at this point in time. Pluto is still retrograding in Capricorn. So like I said, I just feel like that Pluto retrograding in Capricorn, I think that is similar to the Saturn retrograding in Sagittarius, like that. And if you know any Capricorns and if you know any Sagittariuses out there, Capricorns and Sagittariuses tend to be friends and get along good. There are certain signs that in life I observe. They just get along good, whether it is in friendships, relationships, and it's not always based on the signs they say are compatible, but on a general level, right now, really just saying about friendships, the signs that tend to be compatible usually are. So, when we get to one of those signs or something like that, I'll talk about some of the friendships, just like right now, because we're talking about Pluto and Capricorn, and I said that's a little reminiscent of the Saturn and Sagittarius energy to me. Capricorn and Sagittarius tend to go along pretty well. I know some Capricorn and Sagittariuses that are best friends, really tight coupling in like those parental and child groups. So, with one sign being right after the other, what I do notice is a lot of times, if not, the tightest, friends for life or something, the signs before and after a sign usually at least are cordial and do get along well with each other. And that Capricorn comes right after that Sagittarius. I'm a Cancer. I know I get along very well with Leo, get along with Gemini very well too. So I do notice that. But anyway, so that Pluto in Capricorn retrograding, maybe slowing you down. It's helping present some of them challenges for you making the changes that you need to make. But, it is all with a point. So it's almost like playing a record backwards. Like if you remember in the days where they had a record players, and if somebody put their finger on a record and spin it backwards, it's like, and it's like slowed down, muffled, exaggerated speech, slowed down speech. It's kind of like one of those times right now. Pluto is transformative. Pluto is the depths. It rules Scorpio, and with Capricorn being a very hard cardinal sign that is not used to change, that is really about hard work and determination and climbing those career ladders and career goals. You may see some stagnation right now with that Pluto trying to change, but that Saturn is trying to bring you structure in certain areas, and Pluto is going to bring about change. It just may be slow change right now. Okay, so I've already talked to you guys for about 14 minutes about the astrology. So now I shuffled the romance deck, I shuffled the Rider-Waite deck, and I'm going to do a quick tarot reading, and we're just going to get right to the point because we did kind of talk about the astrology a bit. So let's see what's going on with Gemini. It's funny because you got and this is just like I talked about Gemini, and I'll tell you the cards, but when I laid the cards, it's just like I said, you may be going through some bullshit, you may be going through some stuff right now, but it is not gonna last for long. You're gonna come out better in the end. Whatever your situation is, it is going to be better. So, Gemini, what's going on in your situation right now is like I was talking about movement. Even some things that are being done clandestine, maybe secretively, almost like a thief in the night sort of thing. And it could have a lot to do with money. We had the Seven of Swords, and then we had the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So that's when I was like, it was talking about, before I even laid this card, and I was talking about your foundation and things going on that had to do with your stability, and that had to do with having a shakeup. That Seven of Swords and that Queen of Pentacles in reverse, it's like a shakeup to your money, to your stability, to your foundation, to your wealth, in some cases even health, and to your abundance. And this could either be something that's being done by you or an outside party. But I feel like whatever's going on, it really is the Gemini. I don't really see too much of like somebody being sneaky with you or getting over on you, because you are that Swords card. You are that air energy. I'm not saying that it can't be something done to you, but I feel like Gemini is making some clandestine moves. Gemini has to do some things. Gemini, you kind of have to, it's almost like a rob Peter to pay Paul. It's like you have to maneuver the best way you can maneuver. Sometimes that Seven of Swords cards, I mean, a lot of times it's the card of trickery. It's the card of it could be the card of a thief. It could be the card of kind of getting away with something, but kind of leaving something behind, even that you're going to go back for, or something that could possibly even give you away. It's kind of, like I said, a thief in the night. It's moving. It's like the card of the spy. When you read the Seven of Swords card, or you read into tarot and you know what that Seven of Swords cards represent, you got to look out for you. You have to use that mental, it's not an emotional card at all. Whatever this person in the Seven of Swords cards is doing, it is for their benefit. Now, it might not benefit other people. It might not benefit anyone else that's around. But Gemini, you've got to steal your happiness. You've got to take your happiness. You've got to take your stability. You have to work with what you have. So you got to take from one pot and put into the other, and you really have to be smart about that. You have to be enterprising about that. You're gonna have to make some decisions about your stability and new beginnings, so that you can get to where you want to go. So you're breaking apart from something, you're taking from something, you're leaving something, so that you can build a better foundation, so you can be in a happier place. And you really are going to have to take an enterprising role in doing that. What it's going to take is a lot of your mental energy. You're going to have to be smart about what you're doing, and you're also going to have to be wise about what you're doing, and swift. We have the King of Wands here as well. So you're really going to have to be wise about what you're doing. Get good advisement. Take the best advice that you can, so that you can fix whatever situation it is, or change whatever situation it is. So it's really not even about head and heart. It's about the mental, making really good decisions, so that you can have you can go down a successful path, kind of change the course of your directions. You know what I mean? Change the course of your direction so you can have stability. So maybe change the way you do things a little bit, Gemini, and really coming from a perspective of what you've been through. So that's why I said it's because you have the Ace of Swords. So it is mental. It is a mental avenue. It is a mental challenge. It is a mental area that's being presented. You have to be really thoughtful and bright with this Seven of Swords and this Ace of Swords. You got to be really thoughtful and bright about the moves you're going to make, because there are opportunities for you to get settled, whatever issue this is that you need to get settled, so that you can bring some stability into your situation and move away from what you need to move away from. But in order to do that, you have to take into account this King of Wands energy. And you really have to be swift moving, and you have to be wise, able to look into your past. And that's what I'm saying. It's not all head. It's about wisdom too. It's about that third eye. It's about about the inner knowing. It's about the intuition. It's about the gut. So not talking about emotion, but talking about the wisdom, the knowing, being able to look back at situations, see what the best way is to move, and make wise decisions to move that way. This could also represent a fire sign person, Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, that's either in your life or that you've dealt with in the past. Maybe someone who I want to say someone who can either come into your situation to help you, or maybe someone you're moving away from, or maybe you're looking at the ways in which they did things and how they moved, and you're going to kind of use some of that to help with your situation, because that fire energy of that King of Wands is in your reading. And the Ten of Cups is also here to talk about you are going to move to a stable ground. You are going to move into a better future. Just don't mask your problems. Don't get stuck in things that glitter but that aren't really gold. That's what I'm saying. It really is about a strong mental decision and a strong and being wise, so that you get to a better place and not do a whole lot for nothing to still not be stable. Talking about separation. This is where I talked about moving from one spot to another, moving from one situation to the next, moving from an old situation to a new situation in any area of your life. Love, I feel like a lot of it, Gemini, this month has to do with money and stability and foundation, with having this Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, so that you can get to a better place where you're happy, where you can rest your mentals. Something is stealing from your thoughts, is stealing from your happiness, but you do have the ability to get it back. If you let go of it's not all mental. Like I said, you have to really be wise. You got to let go of control issues card, but I think that's the mental control. I think a lot of times your thoughts have a lot of control over you, Gemini, and the thoughts can really play tricks on you. You are the sign of Mercury. Mercury is a communicative sign. It's a very mental sign. Geminis are very mental people. You're an air sign, so you need to let go of some of that and use some of the wisdom in your separation, in this situation that involves separation and moving from one thing to the next. Like I said, whether that be the relationship, because you do have the Nine of Cups here, relationship or foundations. And a lot of times all that ties in to be the same thing. And then you got the worth waiting for card. So that just speaks to how I said things may not look ideal right now. Things may look stormy. Things may look gloomy right now. But if you know, like I know, Gemini always works shit out. Gemini is you're gonna come out on top. The situation is going to work itself out to where you will be happy and you will get your wish, you will get your fulfillment, and you will stand on solid ground. But like I talked about a lot about that, the Saturn and Sagittarius retrograding, the Pluto and Capricorn retrograding. It's not immediate. We're going through storms. We're going through changes so that we can have a better foundation and so we can have a better structure. A lot of things, not just on a personal level, but on a world scale right now, are about building better structures, standing on solid ground, learning from past lessons so that you really can get through with the bullshit and stop the bullshit and become a better person, living a better life, and not have to go through these changes. Because when we don't get those lessons, we end up going through the same situation, playing out in a different movie time and time and time again. So that was your reading, Gemini. I got it done in under 23 minutes. Wow. So I hope you guys come check it out. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, or anybody that has any heavy Gemini energy in their chart. Maybe you got a stellium in Gemini. They say it's 4 more planets, but I think if you have 3 or more planets, that's heavy energy. If you got 3 planets sitting in one sign, especially if they're personal planets, I call that a stellium. I would consider that a stellium. I would consider that sign important in your chart. If you're watching for somebody that's a Gemini, or even if you have 2 planets in Gemini in your chart, depending on what those are, or any 2 planets, I mean, that could be energy for those planets. That's enough energy to watch the video. Maybe you have a Venus in Gemini or something like that. So guys, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of June. I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed your birthdays, and I'm sending you much love and blessings from the universe, into the universe, from Madam X, from Frequency Real Radio. We love you guys.